Okay, so begin with let's see the inbound operation. We'll start with the inbound operation. So what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a new warehouse and I'll go through all the setups, what are the required setups, and then we see how to process a inbound operation. Okay, so it starts from product creation, warehouse setup, and within warehouse we'll create location profiles, and the other setups that are required to receive an item. So we'll see purchase order receiving, load receiving, ASN receiving, and transfer order receiving. So first we'll be focusing on the inbound operation, all the setups, and then the process. Okay, and feel free to interrupt if you have any questions in the middle. Okay, let's create an item. I'll go with the release products. Item model, I'll go with moving average. Item group can be anything. So here comes the important thing. So storage dimension.
Sorry, interrupt,
Okay.
Ajay. Ashok,
Ah,
only you are sharing PPT.
PPT.
Yeah, maybe,
I'll reshare.
yeah.
Enable. How about now?
Yeah, now F4 screen.
Using Dynamics release product form, right?
Yes, dynamic.
Cool. Okay. So we are just creating a product. So when we are creating a product, the key thing which we need to consider for warehouse management is storage dimension group. Okay. I'll just go into storage dimension group and I'll say what are the setups that I require. Okay. So for warehouse, we advanced like if an item to be go through the process of advanced warehouse, then it should have the storage dimension where license plate being enabled or this option should be enabled. Use warehouse management operation. Okay, so I'll just give a name as WMS, and the moment you enable this, all the storage dimension will get enabled. See, so people, you guys are like you guys are familiar with site, warehouse, probably location, and the other thing what we have is a inventory status. So inventory status, it's a kind of an enum where like we define whether a particular quantity can be utilized for selling or it's rejected or it's a broken or it's available for selling or it should not be considered. Like you can tag different status to an inventory. Okay, that is the purpose of that. And usually what we will have inventory status as available and rejected. Okay, so if any particular stock that is broken or it can't be delivered to a customer or it can't be used, we just change the status as rejected or not available so that that particular inventory won't be used. Okay, and this status you will be finding in all the transaction documents as well. And next comes the license plate. As I said earlier, license plate, it's nothing but the pallet. Okay, like there can be business where they use pallet and some business doesn't use. And in one of the implementation, it's a lens actually. Like they are into distribution of lens. So lens is a small product, right? It's not a big product to have in a pallet. So what they were having is instead of a pallet, they were having a basket. Okay, within the location, I mean within the bins, they keep a basket, and within the basket they used to keep the lens. So this basket serves as a purpose of license plate. Okay, and in some scenarios or some business they never use license plate, and we'll see how we can uh, avoid license plate and go with the warehouse management process. Okay, we'll cover that process as well. Any questions here?
Means when changing the license plate to lens means, does it make any difference in the business model or only the naming convention or any setups that will make matter? Ashok?
So it's a naming conversion. Like see, let me put in a different way. Uh, okay, so first at the top level we will have site, and within that we will have warehouse, and then you go to location. Okay, now within this location, we will have license plate, which we call LP or pallet. Okay, or here I said no basket as an example. So any medium that holds more number of quantity or different items, we call it as pallet or basket or whatever it is. But within the location, like within one location, you will have multiple pallets kept, or it can be one pallet as well. So when you track a particular, sorry, when you see a item in a particular warehouse, till this level you can identify. Okay, usually site we say like if we take Dynamics demo data as example, let's say 61 is a site as well as okay 6 is a site, 61 is a location warehouse, and within that you may have something like this as a location. And now within this location you can have multiple license plate, and each license plate can have different items. Let's say LP001, LP002, LP003, and this will have item 05 of 5 quantity, and something like 7. Here also the same thing can be there or can be a different thing. Here it's 08 of 5. So now you see within this particular location you have 3 license plate. So to name or to identify where a particular item lies, this is how you say, like you say the site and then the warehouse and then the location and then the license plate. Clear? Maybe
Got
I
it.
just the palette.
Means, based on the product type, so
Well,
it
it's
maybe
not
become
on
a
the
pallet.
type. Hmm. So it's generally not a type. Any item. See, if you see
Yeah,
this
yeah.
particular image, uh, right off. Okay. So this particular is a bin location, and if you see here we have a pallet, and here we have another pallet. So within each location we have more number of pallets. See, one and two, one and two. So this is how the items will be kept in a big warehouse usually. Okay, not always. Most of the it's a practice what they do. If you see, there are one, two, three license plate, and each of the location you have. Okay, so it's for easy identification and mobility of a product. Like if they wanted to move this item to another location or to identify where a particular item exists, they use this as a like for identification purpose. Okay, so then uh, sorry, Krishna, your voice is not clear. Like there's a glitch. Okay, meanwhile I'll just continue. So once you enable a warehouse as an
Sorry,
like
Ashok. Krishna is asking one pallet will have one product. This is what Krishna is
no,
asking
no,
in
no,
the
no.
comments.
One pallet can have multiple product, as I said here. Like this pallet has two different items and different number of quantities. It's not like always it should have one. It can be multiple as well. Okay, this is an example. So we have two different items here. Okay, so the moment you enable this, you can't inactive any of these. These will be mandatory. Okay, and then I select WMS, and tracking can be anything. So for this time, I'll just give none, or we'll create another item with a batch. And the moment you enable a storage location as an advanced warehouse, you will see two more options. One is reservation hierarchy, and another is unique sequence group ID. So reservation hierarchy, it's mostly for the sales purpose, I mean outbound purpose. Uh, so- okay, so as I see here you define okay in the reservation hierarchy till what level as a user you are allowed to reserve a stock. Okay. So when it comes to advanced warehouse, uh, till the location you can do, like you have seen the hierarchy here, right? So till warehouse only you can reserve a stock, whereas the location and the license plate, okay, not the location will be identified by the system, and the license plate, once you go there, you choose which license plate you wanted to pick. Okay, because in a warehouse there can be hundred number of locations, right? And the person who creates a sale order, he doesn't know on which location the item exists, and if he wants to give the location every time, and there is no point of using an warehouse management application, right? Yesterday I was discussing about location directive. You guys remember that it says
Yes.
from which location the item has to be picked. Okay, so when we create a sales order or a transfer order, we reserve the stock only till the warehouse level. Okay, this is by the user. I mean the person who creates, or if it's auto reservation, let's take it the manual or auto reservation. So let me name it reservation. Okay, only till this level it can be reserved, and this location will be identified by the system based on the location directive. So, location directive. Okay, and this license plate, it's a user, like the person who goes to the particular location. There, he is like he can choose any of the license plate and he can uh, pick it. So I'll name as worker. Okay, so within this storage dimension, these are the three segregation. Like one is will be reserved once the sale order is created or at the time of releasing, and this will be a till a warehouse level, and the locations will be identified by the system based on the location directive what we define, and the third one will be on the worker. Okay, so this is what we define here. First I'll explain default. So in default, site, warehouse, and then we have inventory status. So inventory status, as I said, like always most we create available and non-available or non-rejected. So while creating a sale order, we define that only the available stock should be sold to the customer. So by default it will be available. So if you want, you can just change the status and you can reserve in the sales order. And if you try to enable locations or license plate, system doesn't allow you to do that. Okay, and now it is this is example for an item where we don't deal with batches or serial. Now let's say an item which has a batch number. Okay, here if you see you have the batch number as well, location, license plate, but the reservation it's allowed still the inventory status. It means that same, like you can't reserve a batch against a order, but there are scenarios where you wanted to sell a particular batch to a customer. So in that scenario, this particular reservation hierarchy doesn't help. So for that, we need to have another reservation hierarchy where it states, see, above location we have batch number. So while creating, you can rearrange the structure, like what has to be above and what has to be below. So as simple as like anything below location and equal to location, you can't reserve at the order level. Okay, locations and the below uh, dimensions are will be identified by the system, or the license plate will be identified by the worker. And we also have owner concept, like if you guys are aware about the vendor managed inventory, we have owner process as well. If you want, we can include that as well, like we can use that as a tracking dimension. Like let's say you manage the consignment of different customers in that kind of industry. There are some storage industries, like if you wanted to identify to whom this particular stock belongs to, you can use the owner concept and you can define. And while creating a sale order, you can uh, tag the owner of the particular product, and only that particular products will be reserved at the order level, and based on that the locations will be identified. and then we have serial number. So here, say anything below locations, it's not reserved by the system. So if I try to create, you will see like this, and that's it. So here I'll exclude batch, serial, product. Because the item what we are choosing, it's not a tracking dimension enabled, so I'm just picking this. And if you wanted to order this, you can still go and order. Okay, the moment we create, see, this has been enabled by default. Okay, so this I'll explain more when we are covering the sales process. For now, I'll just choose the default one. And next comes the unit sequence group ID. So now it's nothing but the different unit of measurement what we deal for a particular product. Like a particular item can be in inches, or the particular item can be in box. Just give me a minute. So yeah, as I said, like an item, there can be multiple unit of measurement. How we manage the inventory, right? Some will be managed in inches, boxes, or pallets. So what are the possible unit of measurement that we deal with an item? We need to define everything. So based on this, uh, like if you receive an item in inches, if you wanted to give a different license plate naming, you can use that, and you can group all the inches. Like let's say you received 10 eaches, and the conversion for eaches to boxes is 10. Like either the system, you want the system to create one work for each of like each quantity, or collectively it should create one work for a box. Like it's a kind of a grouping to optimize the location in the uh, like optimize the location in the warehouse. At the same time, for the sales purpose also, this will be used. Okay. So all these in detail I'll explain when we are covering a scenario, and we'll change the setup, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay. So for now I'll give this as each box, and so when an item is advanced warehouse enabled, make sure that the storage dimension, reservation hierarchy, and unit sequence code. These are the key setups that are required. And now we go to manage inventory. So with the unit as equals purchase, etc. Okay, now this is defined. Now let me go to warehouse. Create a warehouse 66 for the room. So, and here this should be enabled. Okay, only then this will be an advanced warehouse. So now we see like there are multiple parameters here. So default receipt location. What it defines is whenever you receive an item in a warehouse, what is the default receipt location that should be used? So in a warehouse, like there will be a different like have you ever seen a layout of a warehouse? Majorly, it will have an inbound dock. Okay. So inbound dock it will have, and then a bulk location, and then there will be multiple. Let's see, these are picking location, and again there will be outbound dock. Is here outbound dock. So this is the simplest layout of a warehouse, where you will have an inbound location whenever you receive an item in the warehouse, the items will be received and kept in this location by default, and then it will be moved from this location to either bulk, okay, or the picking location. Like the best practice, what they do is the system. I think I forgot to say that we will have a replenishment process as well. So usually, what they do is they store all the items in a bulk location first here, and then okay, once like here they will define the minimum quantity only. Like it's not like they should keep all the items in the picking location. They just keep the items and the quantity, like less number of quantities in the picking location. And whenever there is a sale, the item will be picked from this and put in the outbound dock. And from here, it will be dispatched to the customer. Like, is it clear on this layout?
Ashok, in a nutshell, means product will be arriving to inbound place, then
Hmm.
move to bulk. From there,
Hmm.
picking location, any of the places that can be placed. From there, it should move to outbound dock, right?
Right, that's how it moves. So why we are having a bulk location and a picking location is like you guys have might have visited a factory or let's say supermarket. In supermarket, always they keep the less number of quantities in the shelf where we pick, and there will be a place, a godown or something where they keep the stock in bulk, and whenever the stock reduces in the picking location, they replenish from this location to this location. Right, we have seen this process, right? The similar process what will be used in a bigger warehouse. Like this is a simple layout,
Yeah.
whereas if you go to a bigger one, like these four will be a key thing. You will see one inbound, one bulk, or minimum one bulk, one inbound picking location and outbound dock. Okay, so this is how the structure looks. Now in the warehouse setup, we need to define what is our default receiving location. Okay, and these are related to production. Okay, this is for maintenance and for returns, which location should be used for credit only, and for quality check, what is the location? I think these are something new, default location for sorting. Okay, so the key setup is default receipt location. Only with that we can receive the stock. And now we have some more parameters here. Reserve
So
only.
one
This
query
is for
here.
production. Yeah.
What if we have quarantine?
The first you will be received in the default receive location, and then there will be a work created to move to the quarantine location.
Okay.
Okay. So see, once you receive, like somewhere you need to keep a stock, right? Let's say it comes in a truck. You need to unload and you need to keep somewhere. This will be the first location. This inbound is a place where they first unload and keep, and then they move to a quarantine if there is a quality process to be carried out. If not, it will be routed to the bulk location, or if there is no stock, it can be a picking location as well.
Inbound and bulk will have some quarantine.
Let's put in this way. Uh, let's see. Uh, let's say this is a location. Now you received, you kept a stock here. Okay. Now here you will decide whether it should go to a process of quality check or it doesn't require. If it's a process of quality check, you will move to QC warehouse. If not, let's say you move to bulk. But somewhere you need to receive and keep the item, right? At the initial
Yeah,
stage. Let's
got
say
it.
it's a
Got
big
it.
item, you need forklift, everything. So that process should be
Okay.
there.
Clear.
Right.
Means if it is
So and
quarantine to be gone to quarantine means it will go to quarantine.
mm,
Otherwise, it will come to the bulk place
right.
where it will
Right.
be moved to further location.
Yes. Right. Okay. And in this parameter we do have some parameters for reservation, like when the item has to be reserved. So here at the time of loading, at the time of releasing, and whether the system should allow partial reservation or full reservation. All those setups are there. Managing negative inventory, all those, and okay, and default inventory status. So as I said, like we will be having, like by default we'll be having two, available or blocked. So blocked won't be used, and we define that. I think here for purchase, like we don't have much. This is the only key thing. Now let's see how to create a location. Don't create a location from here. Like this option won't be available for us. Like when we are using advanced warehouse, if it's a non-advanced warehouse, like we'll be using this option to create the location. So for advanced warehouse, I'll go to the module setup, locations. Okay. Right. This is where we create, like if you want to create one by one, you can directly use locations form, or if you want to create in bulk, we have location setup wizard. Okay, and before that we need to create a location profile. So for each of the locations, like paid or bulk area, everything, we will create a separate location profile, and we will tag this to the locations. So let's take inbound talk here. Okay, so this they name as receiving. Let's take this as the inbound talk. So here, when we are creating in a bulk, how we want to have the location naming conversion. Okay, for that, we use this format option. If you see, it's just a 10, the character should be 10, and while using the wizard, system will create location for the inbound doc with 10 characters. And this is a normal location where we will have aisle, rack, shelf, bin. Like, are you guys are familiar with these terminologies, or you want me to explain? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
What is
so
bin? Krishna is asking what is bin.
okay, bin. If you take this particular image, bin is nothing but a location. Let's say, see, this is a bin. Okay, so bin is nothing but a location for us. So this particular thing we call as shelf, and this is a rack. Okay, and maybe some other image I'll take to show aisle. Okay, if you see, this is one aisle. Okay, this is one aisle. This is another aisle, and this is another. Okay, this is a aisle, and let's say this is a shelf, and this we totally call as a rack, and within that we will have a bin, nothing but a location. So to name it, like since there are multiple racks, shelves, everything, to name a particular bin or location, we will have a ID, right? So, or you can take example of this Excel. So how you will say, how you'll point out a particular cell here, like you use the coordinates of column and the rows. So if you want to name this cell, you say B5. The same way, we'll have aisle, rack, shelf, and the bin. So we have some other image. Okay. So big clear. Okay. Is this clear? Consider bay as a rack. Okay. This is a shelf. This horizontal is a shelf, and this entire thing is a aisle. Okay. And this particular piece is a rack. And to mention a particular place within this, we call as bin. And collectively, we like if you point out this one, we say as a location. Like bin or location, both are same. So it's clear.
Yes. So location is the last point, right? Under bin, it will be directing to location where the
Bin is
product can
nothing
be
but a
placed.
location.
Yeah.
Consider
So where
bin as
the
a location.
end product will be placed. From there, you
Hmm.
can pick up for the outbound process, right?
Right, outbound or inbound, everything. So it's
Yeah,
just to point out a particular place in a big location, or consider
where
it
it
like
is stored.
right. So location is a cell, and those are the other coordinates. Okay. Krishna, is that clear?
Yes, he replied.
Okay. Okay. So now, oh, okay. So now here we define how we need the naming conversions. So for aisle, it should be of two characters, and we need a separator as a for rack two. We can define as we like, and for each of the location, different type of location we define. So this is a bay door. For bay door, they give us 10, and for bulk, we need a bulk, and then aisle identification we need. So the separator will be hyphen. So when we are creating a bulk using this format, it creates as 004, like 301 hyphen 3201 as a bulk location. Mm, okay, now repos. Okay, and here we define the type. So this type will be used for some validation purpose. Okay, this you can create as a master, and we will tag in a different places, which I will be showing later. But to create a location profile, like you need to have a format and the type, and here you define whether this particular location should be a license plate tracking or not. As I said earlier, like it doesn't mean that all the business will have license plate tracking. Only certain businesses will have license plate tracking. What if they don't use license plate tracking? So for that, we will create a location profile where this will be disabled. So if this is disabled, nowhere in the system you will be seeing a license plate tracking. But remember, in Dynamics, in two places we need to maintain license plate. One is at the receiving dock, and another is outbound dock. Okay, but within a warehouse, simply you can disable this option and you can manage the inventory. Now, what we will be doing is, let's say the business doesn't use license plate at all, but we have a limitation in the product that for receiving location and the bay door, I mean the outbound location, we need to enable license plate tracking for sure. So we will enable, and we will mention auto generate of license plate. Okay, which will be done in like that configuration will be in a mobile device menu item. And once that is enabled, the system will create a license plate, but the business doesn't want to worry about. It's for internal purpose. I mean, internal when I say within the system, nowhere that will be used anywhere, because the stock won't be always in the receiving location. Like in the example, uh, say once we received here, it won't be here always. Like later we will move to bulk location. So this is a temporary location, and same way outbound dock. Still we move the shipment out of the factory, it will be there. But the stock mostly will be in these two locations. So we can disable the license plate in this storing storage location. Let's say inbound as a temporary and outbound as a temporary location, whereas the bulk and the picking location is your actual storage location. Like you will have a stock there. That's where you will be tracking the inventory, moving the inventory, right? So for these two locations, we still need to enable license plate tracking, but we don't want it to key in anywhere. That we will see in the process. And whether the location should allow negative inventory, allow mixed of an item, like whether different set of batches should be allowed or different items should be allowed. Like there will be some scenarios where, let's say, cold storage room, okay, or some items should be kept in a particular temperature. Like a cold item which should be kept in a cold storage, we at least should not keep in the hot location, right? So we can define like different set of items can be kept in a single location or not, different batches or item with a different status. uh, if it's a chemical, let's say one chemical it's expired, okay, and you change the status to rejected and another is in a status of available, which is good or something good. If you kept both at the same location, there could be a chemical reaction which happens and it spoils the other item as. Or to have a better warehouse optimization, why you wanted to keep item which is broken in a picking location. Anyway, it's never gonna be sold, right? We won't be using that for a sales process. So when we are trying to put an item, a good item in a bad items location or the other way, system won't allow if this parameter is disabled. So basically this parameter controls the mix of items are allowed or not. Okay, and whether cycle counting is allowed, and for barcode whether we need that check digit that we enable, and like the system, whether the system should keep the track of the location activities, when is last picked from this location, all those we can, and enable license plate positioning. So license plate positioning is, let's say in some places, so the image what I've shown, there can be license plate like this. It's not a simple case. Let me take something as an example. Okay, if you see here, we will have a license plate over here, and there could be a license plate behind this or on top of this also within the same location. So if you want to position a license plate, okay, we'll be using this LP position. So to say in the other way, okay. So in the supermarket, have you ever noticed that they always keep the items that gonna expire before, and the later expiring item will they will keep in the back? Have you noticed that? So here we can
Yes.
segregate it too. So why they are keeping that is the item which gonna expire first should be sold out. So here let's say there are two items in the same bin in different license plate. Okay, if you want to particularly mention that I wanted to pick an item which is in the license plate which is in the beginning of the first one, which is placed in the second. So in that case, we will be using license plate position, so that you will know where the license plate, whether it's in the front or it's in the back, or if it's a vertical one, whether it's at the bottom or it's a top. So to be more precise on the location, uh, that's where we will use license plate positioning. And I never seen any implementation using this, but it's option. And whether allow different dimensions are allowed, this we keep here. And what is the storage dimension? When I say storage dimension, it's not the storage dimension what we use in Dynamics 365. It's a size, like how many the length, breadth, width, and the total weight that it can accommodate, or the volume, all those we define here. So based on this setup, the system knows that whether a particular item can be kept in a location or not. The availability will be defined based on this. Okay, and this looks like a new feature, so I'm not taking this. now we have seen receive. The same way if you see for bulk, see for bulk we didn't enable license plate. Again, it's an option for us. We can enable or we can disable, but in this example they have not enabled it. It means for bulk location we don't need a license plate tracking. And in bulk we will keep all mixer of an item. So fine. And then let's go to a pick. So again for pick they use this format, and if you see license plate tracking is enabled. Okay. So any questions in the location profile? Say at the high level, location profile defines the characteristics of a location. Mostly it is used to define the format and the type, and then the license plate tracking. Only here we have a control. Okay, because in the warehouse setup or nowhere we have a control whether we should be using license plate or not once advanced warehouse is enabled. This is the only place where we can control it. Okay, so now I'll just go to location setup wizard. We created warehouse 66. So first I'll say that receiving location. And if you wanted to define zone, say zone is nothing but a grouping of multiple aisles or picking location, something like it's another level of grouping. And here we define the numbers 1, 2, 3. So what I need 3 receiving locations. You see the system had created 3 locations. Same way, setup wizard 66. Go with bulk. Bulk I just need 1. So based on the format, system had created a location. Okay. In case if you want to create manually, let me show the process of creating it manually. 66. See, whenever we use advanced warehouse, this RF gen will be created automatically. Okay, it's for the users. Like we'll be using handle device, right? So whenever we are using handle device, or let's say you pick an item from a location, and once you picked until you put somewhere you will be holding the inventory, correct? So to see in the system for every worker, like whenever he picks an item, whenever he completes a pick activity, you can see the stock in this particular location. It means that the stock is with the worker, and once that is put, the stock will be removed from this location and put in the actual location. So it's nothing but a transit location, as simple as that. So then I'll create a new one, 66. So location, I can name anything. Let's say outbound block, out 00. It's not required, and I can define which profile it should follow. I name as payload. So these are for additional filtering purposes. So let's ignore that. So this is the other way how you create a location. And what is left over is a picking location. I'll use the setup wizard. Created the locations. Okay. Okay, so far any questions?
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I have one query here.
Yes.
So in the locations, while showing that what do you call license plate, below that we were having some negative inventory, allow negative
Okay.
inventory.
Hmm.
So how it works? Will it override the inventory model group, or like it will control from this location?
Okay, I need to see, to be honest, because hmm, We always we never use negative inventory in the business, since I never go, like I don't mostly deal with retail. So because in retail only mostly it will be of negative inventory. Maybe I need to check. I'll check and I'll update.
Okay, fine.
Right.
And one more thing.
Hmm.
You said we have control on license plate and
Hmm.
remaining things like all the hierarchy, like what do you call I'll bin, all those things.
Huh.
We don't have any control, right? By default, we have to use when we are using the advanced warehouse management. So nowhere we can
No,
control that parameters.
say ignore these terminologies. Aisle, rack, shelf. It's nothing, but it's collectively a location, right?
Okay, okay.
At the end, what we will be achieving is we will get a location. If I say that
With this
there is no
combination.
bin in
Okay,
the right, even this
okay,
is a location. And if it's
okay,
only island rack, this serves as a location, like how we say in the cell, like we just have a column and a row, but still we point out a particular cell. And this cell is a location here. So it's a two
okay.
dimension,
All
three
put together,
dimension, and
it's
four
a
dimension location.
okay, okay, okay.
So,
Good.
got it. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So the next thing is
Moving on.
location stocking. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Krishna
Yeah.
is asking,
At
so
max.
bin will have palette. That is what Krishna is asking.
Sorry, bin will have. Yes. So see, bin is nothing but a location. Bin and locations are same. Because why I'm saying both are same is that is the final thing. So you will precisely say, or how to put in, you guys will get better is, mm, say, I'll use the same thing again. See now here, let's say you wanted to say this item is available in this location. How do you say? Let's say I wanted to say this location. You will say that go to aisle one, see in shelf two, rack two. Okay, and when you see rack, okay, this entire thing is a rack. And when you say, like when you say shelf, and this is the place, it's a location, right? This is the exact location where this item lies. So bin is as same as that. So consider that bin is the last node in a structure to say, hey, this is where the stock lies. So within a bin, you will have a pallet or one or more pallets.
Yeah, when we see larger warehouses, so it will appear like this only.
Right. So this particular place we call as a location. This this collect it's a collectively we call as a warehouse, and this particular point we call as a location or a bin. It's the business, like some business use the word bin, some business use the word location. So the final place where within a location, that's at least one. After that, you don't have any drill down. That's where you call as a location. Is that clear? No. Sorry, again, there's a glitch from your end.
Yeah, he replied yes, thanks.
Mm, Okay. So next, we'll see location stocking limit. Okay, so here we define in each of the location or a location profile, what is the maximum uh, quantity that can be kept. And we also define the units. And in case if you don't wanted to track all those, you just need to give unlimited quantity. And you can also define a particular item, or if you didn't define a particular item, the system considers all the items. So, and you can also define the license, like the unit of measurement here. Okay. So in this flow, maximum you can just keep two pallets, okay, of any item. And you can define at the variant level, or you can define at the container level also. So it's nothing but a maximum storage limit what we define for. It can be for a particular location or a particular location profile. When you define location, locations takes a priority. If you define a profile, like all the locations within that profile will follow the same thing. And now we have a new concept, group of warehouse. So earlier it was not there. Like if there are multiple warehouses where all the process remains same, and we need to do configuration for each of the warehouse. Now you can use the concept of warehouse group, and you can cluster that, and you can use the same setup for all the warehouses. Okay. So this
So
stocking limit is
what's the
purely
use
based on
of that?
quantity.
You said,
Which one?
so,
Warehouse group.
warehouse group. You said, no. What is the use of that in clustering those warehouse?
Okay. See, before warehouse group, how we will be doing an implementation or a setup is, for every warehouse we need to define a setup. Okay. So let's say there are some process where the setup's gonna be remain same, everything gonna remain same. Where we end up is, and we need to create n number of setups based on the number of warehouses. Once this process came, I mean the warehouse group comes, you can cluster all those and you can define one group. Or in this example, let's say 24 and 25 follows the same thing. There's no difference. Okay. But you end up in creating two lines. One is for 24 and another for 25 warehouse. Instead, what you can do is you can create a warehouse. You can create a warehouse group, and you can add the warehouses that gonna follow the same. Like how we have location profile for a location, warehouse groups of the same purpose.
So it's like a profile yourself. So will
Yes,
it copy all the
kind of.
setups from one warehouse to another warehouse, or like we
It
can select
follows.
in the order level?
No, no, it follows the setup. Like
Okay,
uh,
nothing but copying.
it doesn't copy. Okay, it
Okay,
follows the principle. It follows the setup.
okay.
So you don't wanted to make a copy of that. Instead, you will create a group of store. I mean, group of store is nothing but clustering the store. Like let's say here, let's say six. Six is a group, or I'll say 61 and 66 is a group. Okay. So if I come here and select group 6, so all the values within group 6 will follow this particular definition. Like in trade agreement, we have no item, group, all the same logic.
Okay, so in the line level, we can select that warehouse group instead of selecting the warehouse.
Right.
Okay,
And it's a
okay.
new thing.
Clear.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
where and all
Okay,
they introduced this.
that's okay. Understood. It's copying, you said, right?
It's not a copying, it's ideally following,
Kind of. Yeah.
kind of a following. Right.
Okay.
That's actually
Good.
limit the thing, because in a big premise you will have more than one warehouse which will follow the same thing, and everything gonna be same. Instead of, the only difference will be the warehouse number. This will be
Okay.
one and that will be two. Why we need to end up in creating multiple things? So we will go with this
Mhm.
option.
Okay. And one more
Okay.
thing.
And that,
So, what is the limitation of these locations in each warehouse? Do we have any control, or we can create a number?
you can create a number of lines. There's no limitation.
Oh,
So when you're not dealing based on the volume or the size of the location, it's like it can be different, right? Some business follows like if I can accommodate something in this location, put over there, don't set any limit. And some business say that no, for each location, maximum I need to keep this many number of quantity. I don't wanted to make that cumbersome. And again, the flip side of going with the dimension, I mean the volume or the storage size, the problem is an item you can keep as vertical or you can keep as horizontal, and based on that, the number of quantities that gonna be differed. What you're gonna put in a bin or a location, right? Bear with me.
yeah. Okay.
To put another way, let's say uh, you have something where the width is lesser and the breadth is higher. If you put in vertical, the number of quantities that can accommodate into a particular location can be more. If you put the same item in a vertical position, the number of quantities that what you're gonna keep could differ if the location is a rectangle. If it's a square, it doesn't mean that how you put, still you will have a like the number of quantity gonna remain same. But there can be some spaces that are left over, which the system never, no, the system is not that intelligent to see, okay, if I put something here in a vertical and there are some space at the top, so I can put this in horizontal. That the system never gonna see. It always sees, okay, whether there is some volume or whether I can fit something. So one is based on the volume that we go with, and the other is based on the quantity. If again we are going with the volume wise, it will match. Okay, let's say a particular location maximum it can hold 10 kg, but the dimension of the product it never does fit into that location. But still the system says that you can put in that location. So these are some scenarios where there will be a manual intervention. It's required still, though we define everything. Right? So, Rigo is following up with me, or I
Yes, yes,
confused
yes,
you.
yes. No, 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 no. Fine, fine. But earlier screen we have
Yes.
ignored the length and breadth of the location that we have mentioned.
Right?
So when we
Yeah,
when
that's
we
what.
yeah, yeah. So if it
When
is
we give
there,
a
it
difference.
is fulfilled.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
the item would be like 10 kgs, but the measurements may be very
Hmm.
bigger in size. So there
Right.
it will be making matter. Correct? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. Right. Same. Same. So that's what
Okay.
each business
I
differs.
missed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
You said some bin kind of thing. So you said some.
no.
Uh, so
Okay.
measurement you are
Let's
saying.
take.
Say.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Let's take an. I'll give an example. Sorry, I'm hearing some noise in the background. Okay. I'll give an example. Let's take. There is a location. Like you have a TV. Okay. The measurement of the TV. Let's say it's 52 inches. So if it's 52 inches, let's say I'm not exactly sure about the length and breadth, but it's total of 52 inches. And if you are going with the volume concept, okay, it will be of 3 kg, 3 or 4 kg. A location can accommodate till 10 kg, and you kept a TV. But if you try to keep another TV, there could be like the volume will be available, okay, but the dimension doesn't fit it. Like if you are going with 62, 62 is of 5 kg, and still you can keep that in a location as per the system, but the dimension of the TV and the dimension of the location, it never fits. The TV is bigger than the location, right? There could be scenario like that.
Yes, yes. That's what I was referring to.
Right.
So,
So now wherever volume serves better, we'll go with volume. Wherever dimension serves, we'll go with dimension, and wherever quantity matters, we'll go with. So we have three different options now here to keep like for the stocking limit. Here it's purely based on the quantity what we are seeing, and on the location profile we define that this is the volume and this is the dimension of the location, So based on the availability, system will suggest the location. Okay, and if we, let's say within a particular location, you give 5 quantity and you already have 4. While the system suggests, it will suggest you to keep 1 quantity in this location and rest 4 in different location if you are going with stocking limit. Okay, and whereas I think the volume and the storage dimensions, I mean the measurements, it doesn't go that way. It just suggests you a different location all total. Okay, so these we'll see when we are receiving the item, probably in the next session. So on in the next session, little location profile we completed, and next we'll be seeing location directive and work template configuration. Okay, and
Sir
then
Ashok, one more.
yes,
You said that location, it will refer to some other location. If the dimension is not fitting for the beginner location, it will show
mm,
the separate location. That's what you're saying, na?
right,
So what if
right, right.
we want to change the existing one dimension? Can we change it?
See, why, as a business, like when you are structuring the warehouse, they say like you can dynamically change the dimension of a location, no?
Correct. My business need has changed today. Okay, earlier I was,
You can do it.
we can do it, right?
Fine. Yeah, you can
Okay,
totally do it. Like it's at the master level.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
So the moment when you restructure, the when the dimensions are changing, the number of locations also will get equal, right?
Yeah, it may reduce or it may increase. Yeah,
It may
understood.
increase. So based on that, you can
Yeah.
create and you can play around. Or in total, you can create a new location also. You can
Okay.
inactivate the old one
Altogether, we
and
have
you
to
can
create
go.
a new one. Instead of
No, you
editing the existing one, we have to go with the new one. That's what you're trying to say?
no, you can edit. The other options is you can also inactive and you can go with a new one, or you can edit also. Both are possible.
Okay, both are possible. Fine. Thank
Yeah. Okay. So once the setups are clear, then we will see the purchase process, purchase receiving process. Like there are multiple ways of receiving. We'll get into all those. But guys, please, like in the next session, if you guys have any queries in these three, whatever we saw, please let me know because these five you will see in like you will see in all the places. At least the location directive, work template, menu items, you will see for inbound or outbound internal operations for all the warehouse. Those three menus or three setup plays a key role, and you will see everywhere. Okay, and please have some scenarios with you also. We can try it out, and I'll come up with some scenarios. Okay,
you. So when
anything?
is the next session, Ashok?
Not today, sorry, not tomorrow. On Monday, I'll ask the organizer to convey to you guys.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Diwali.